this week on CountryMusicJunkies.com, the man behind the songs Family Man, Fish, and When I Get It, the newest single. It is the wonderful and talented Craig Campbell. Craig, thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
All right, now we know in Nashville, an overnight success usually means that someone's been in the business for several years. Can we hear your kind of overnight success story, so to speak?
Yeah. My overnight success story began in 2002 when I moved to Nashville. I spent a few years just trying to find my way and try to network and meet as many people as I could. In the meantime, I was playing down on Broadway, which is a strip of clubs in Nashville, where several different honky-tonks, and I played pretty much every one of them, and I was writing songs and singing demos, and there was a stretch there that I actually was fortunate enough to play piano for Tracy Byrd, and I played piano for Luke Bryan.
Oh, wow.
So in the meantime, I was still playing on Broadway every Tuesday night. Did that for several years, and there was a girl that worked there. Her name was Kimmy, or is what we call her. She was dating a guy by the name of Michael Powers, and he was one of the guys in the music business that he was in the radio promotion department, and he's one of the big deals in Nashville. And he came down to see me off and on for several years, and then one night he told me he wanted to bring out Keith Stigall, which is he was a producer in Nashville. He is a producer in Nashville. Produced all the Alan Jacksons, and more recently here the Zac Brown records. And
wow!
Said he was going to bring him down to see me, and he did. It was back in August of '08, and we've been together ever since. And this, like I said, we're on my third single, and we're all happy-go-lucky.
Well, that's great. That's a great backstory. You definitely paid your dues, so to speak, as most country artists especially have to do, so that's phenomenal. Now let's talk about your self-titled debut album. What were you hoping to achieve by it?
Well, fortunately, I got to, leading up to cutting my record, I was able to just write songs, and when it came time to pick songs, I played several songs out of my catalog for Keith, and he liked what I had, so I was fortunate to have 9 out of 11 songs on the record that I wrote.
Wow. So,
I guess what the question is, when people hear the record, they know that those songs, and every song is kind of autobiographical in a certain, if you listen to them, you kind of know who I am, and that's basically what I want people to know is this guy's got some really good songs, and I can relate, and seems like he'd be a pretty cool dude to hang out with.
Well, absolutely. We'll talk about your first single, Family Man. Does that kind of embody the type of guy that you are?
Yeah, well, that's a very true song. Up until probably a couple months ago, but I still do have the buy here, pay here truck that I'm talking about in the song.
Oh, wow.
It was paid for, and it's got a good radio, and I guess made a beat. So and it was not only that, just several things that me and my wife were going through, and that's just the point of period that I was in my life, and I was kind of the songs I was writing, and that's where that song came from.
Well, I know we actually featured that song on something called Patrice's Pick several months ago. We love it, and it got a lot of great listener feedback in our area and also on the charts as well. So good work with that one. Now I want to talk about Fish, because that song is awesome, but kind of a little more scandalous. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, when I wrote that song, I never anticipated it being on a record or anything like that. I was just writing it because my co-writer came in with that idea, and I thought it was just a fun idea. It definitely would be a great song to play live,
Yeah, absolutely.
So we finished the song, and I started playing it out live, and it seemed like no matter where I went, even though nobody had ever heard that song, that was the one song that people kept commenting on, saying, "Man, we really like that Fish song." So we recorded it, and it, studio, it turned out pretty well. So we decided to put it on the record, and then radio, started hearing it when I was doing my radio tour, and several of the stations were like, you guys have to make that the second single, and we decided to do that.
Well, that's great. We love it. It's a very fun song, as you said, and in particular the video. It's kind of funny because if you just hear the song without the video, you're kind of like, okay, what's he talking about? And then the video, kind of settles things down a little bit. But
right.
But it's a fun song, and I'm glad that you picked it as one of the singles as well. Let's talk about your next single, your newest single, When I Get It. What's that all about?
Well, it's just a song about being broke, and we, a lot of people don't like talking about, money or the lack thereof, or having a hard time paying the bills. So I took this idea and we wrote it in a way that is very up-tempo and lighthearted and kind of humorous in certain spots. But it's about a guy that's doing the best he can, and then just people calling wanting money, and he just says, hey, I'm doing the best I can, and when I get it, you'll get it.
Well, there you go.
Leave me alone.
Absolutely. We've all been there before. That's a very relatable song, I think, for a lot of listeners. Now, you've been compared to one of country's greatest musicians ever, Alan Jackson. Do you kind of take some influences from his music, or is that just a comparison?
Absolutely. I mean, I grew up listening to Alan's music. He's one of my heroes, and the fact that he's from Georgia as well, and we both have the same producer, it seemed like it was inevitable that we were going to be compared to each other. But I think it's a huge compliment to mention in the same sentence with that guy. I mean, he's an icon, and he's, like I said, he's one of my heroes.
Well, that's great. You must be very honored then, especially if he was kind of a musical icon for you growing up as well. Switching gears into your tour, you are touring right now. Where can fans see you on the road, and where can they check out information about your tour?
Well, we've had some time off, over Christmas and New Year's, but we're getting ready to hit the road pretty hard. So I actually have several dates all over the country, but you can go to my website, www.craigcampbell.tv, and look at my tour dates and find out where I'm going to be. And you know what? I'd love to where we go for people to come out just to see the show. I think it's the record does a lot for me, but it's definitely something different to see the live show. So I encourage people to at least give it a shot. Come check it out.
Are there any kind of funny stories from being on the road?
There's a few, but to protect the innocent, we can't talk about it.
All right, fair enough. That makes sense. You have to go to a show and check it out and see what happens, I guess, right?
Yep.
There you go. Now, Craig, what can we expect to see from you next, other than, of course, the tour? Are we thinking a new album in the next little while? What's next?
We're definitely going to be in the studio probably in the next few months, starting on the next record. It won't be out probably until next year, but I'm excited about starting. I got a whole bunch of new songs that I'm pretty pumped about recording and making my second record.
Well, that's great. Well, Craig, thank you so much for talking with us this morning. I do appreciate your time, and we wish you all of the best of luck with the upcoming tour. And stay in touch with us.